She didn't touch his hand. She touched a part of him he didn't even know was waiting to be found. Now let that sit in your chest for a second, my friends. Let it echo, because today we're flipping the whole script. Have you ever wondered why some women who don't have the so-called perfect body, don't post airbrush selfies, don't live on a yacht in Bali, still end up being the ones a man can't stop thinking about? Why she, out of everyone, is the one who lingers in his memory, the one he can't replace even when he's surrounded by options. Listen closely, because it's not about contouring your cheekbones or memorizing seductive poses from TikTok. No, it's something quieter, something deeper, something Carl Jung would call archetypal. It lives in the unseen. And once you get this, everything changes. Before we go any further, press that like button, hit subscribe, and do it for you, not for me. Because what we're about to break open, this isn't just advice. It's a whole new lens for love, connection, and your power as a woman. Hey, ladies, imagine this. You're standing in the middle of a packed train station, people rushing by, eyes glued to their phones, energy frantic. And then a woman walks in, no big smile, no dramatic outfit, just stillness, calm, eyes that don't search but see. She doesn't shout, she doesn't hustle, but the room shifts, heads turn, the air changes, and that's not magic, that's resonance. That's a woman who knows the power of presence, not because she's perfect, but because she's anchored. And trust me, men feel that. They feel it in a way they can't explain. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right, being kind, looking your best, texting back fast, smiling just enough, but still you're invisible to the one you want, like somehow you're on the outside of something you can't quite name? Here's the raw truth. It's not that you're not enough. It's that you've been trained to focus on the wrong battlefield. You were taught to touch the body, but he falls in love with the part of you that touches his mind. Because true feminine power doesn't beg to be seen. It makes him feel like he just woke up in a dream he didn't know he wanted. See, most women are trained to chase attention, but the unforgettable ones, they command it. Not by being louder, not by revealing more, but by revealing less and meaning more. They've learned to speak to something inside him that most people don't even know exists. The part of him that's tired of performing, the part of him that's scared, hungry, driven, and silently hoping that someone will see beyond the mask. And the women who master this, they don't get ghosted. They get remembered. Because a man can give his body to anyone, but his mind, his surrender, that goes to the woman who knows how to live not just in his bed, but in his thoughts. So if you've ever wondered how to become that woman, the one he thinks about when he's alone, the one he compares every other woman to, the one who lives in his quiet, stay with me. Because what I'm about to show you isn't about manipulation. It's not about tactics or tricks. It's about becoming so emotionally grounded, so psychologically magnetic that your very presence whispers to the deepest parts of him. This isn't about touching his body. This is about awakening his mind. And once you learn how to do that, you won't need to chase love ever again. You'll attract it without even trying. Let's begin. Number one, a man doesn't fall for touch. He falls for tension. Desire doesn't bloom in the moment he touches your skin. It begins in the moment he realizes he can't. That's the part most people never understand, my friends. They think seduction is about how close you can get. But real power, real feminine power, it lives in the space between you and him. Not the contact, but the tension that rises before the touch ever happens. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're in a dark theater. The music swells. The stage is lit in just the right places. Two characters inch toward each other. Their hands almost touch, but don't. The audience leans forward. Hearts beat a little faster. Why? Because the moment hasn't landed yet. It's about to. And that anticipation, that's where the electricity lives. That's what most women miss. Because we've been conditioned to close the gap, to rush in, to get the kiss, the call, the where is this going answer. We've been taught to measure progress by how much a man gives. But real connection, it's not built on confirmation. It's built on curiosity. See, a man doesn't surrender to certainty. He surrenders to pull. And the more you try to control the outcome, text him first, explain your feelings too fast, ask him where he stands after every moment, the more you choke out the very oxygen that desire needs to grow. And I get it. You want to feel secure. You want to know where you stand. You're tired of playing games, tired of holding back, tired of wondering if he feels what you feel. So you lean in too far, you give too much too fast because you think closeness equals connection. But it doesn't, not always. Because when you rush the moment, you rob it of its power. When you push for certainty, you silence the mystery. And when you try to hold on to him, you don't realize he was already leaning in, but you got there first, and now the moment's gone. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. And that's what this is about. And it's not that he doesn't feel something. It's that you never gave him the space to understand it on his own. Here's a truth no one told us growing up. Men don't fall because you reach for them. They fall because they reach for you and find you steady, still unmoved. There's nothing more magnetic than a woman who isn't trying to prove her worth and who knows how to hold tension with grace, who doesn't flinch in the silence, who lets the moment breathe instead of rushing to fill it. Let me say it plain. Anyone can touch his chest, but not every woman knows how to echo in his spine long after she's gone. So the next time you find yourself craving closeness, pause, let him wonder, let him lean in, let him miss something. Because if he doesn't miss you, he'll never chase you. And if he doesn't chase you, he'll never value what he finds. You don't need to reach across the table. You just need to sit there, confident, calm, quiet, and let the air between you do the work. And that's where the real power lives. So if you've ever felt like you're too much or not enough, if you've ever poured your heart out and felt empty in return, if you've ever tried to earn love and ended up exhausted, listen to me now. You don't need to touch his body to be unforgettable. You need to master the pause before the touch, the breath before the leap, the silence that speaks louder than words. Because desire isn't born in the moment he holds you. It's born in the moment he wonders if he ever will. And that's just the beginning, my friends. Because what we're unlocking next, it's not about distance, it's about depth. Then once you understand how to enter his mind without saying a word, he won't just think of you. He'll feel you when you're nowhere near. Stay with me. We're about to go deeper. Number 2, the mind is where real intimacy begins. The body may remember your touch, but the mind replays your mystery. My friends, if you want to live in a man's body for a night, be obvious. If you want to live in his mind for months, be unforgettable in silence. Because here's the truth that most never grasp. A man's body is reactive. It responds to what's in front of him. But his mind, that's where the stories are created. That's where real intimacy is born. Not in the skin-on-skin contact, but in the ideas, the images, the intrigue that you plant without saying a thing. Let me break it down like this. Imagine you walk past a bakery. You catch the scent of warm cinnamon and vanilla. You don't even see the cake, but now you want it. Why? Because your imagination took over. You started building the experience without anyone needing to explain a thing. That's what happens when you learn to speak to a man's mind instead of just his senses. You don't need to spell it all out. You just need to suggest, hint, imply, let his mind fill in the rest. Instead of saying, I miss you, try this. If you were here right now, I'd probably be causing trouble. It's playful, it's open-ended, it sparks a scene. Because when you speak like this, you're not giving him lines. You're giving him layers. You're becoming a moment he replays in his head while driving, while working, while lying awake at night, wondering, why can't I stop thinking about her? Carl Jung reminded us the unconscious doesn't deal in facts, it deals in symbols. So speak in symbols, not explanations, not pressure, not performance. Say less, mean more, and let him chase your essence, not just your presence. Because when you do that, you're no longer just a woman he met. You become a feeling. And feelings, those live far longer than flirtation ever could. And next, we're going even deeper into your secret weapon, the stillness that makes him ache without a single word. Stay with me. Number 3, stillness is louder than seduction. In a world full of noise, the woman who's unshaken by silence becomes the loudest echo in his mind. Let that land for a second, my friends. Because we live in a world addicted to reaction, where everyone's rushing to be seen, to be liked, to be chosen. And in that chaos, the woman who doesn't need to prove herself, she stands out without even trying. Most women think the key to connection is more effort, more talking, more laughter, more proving, more pleasing. But the truth is, stillness speaks in a way words never can. Picture this. You walk into a room full of people performing, loud voices, fast jokes, constant movement, and then there she is. A woman leaning calmly against a wall, sipping her drink slowly, completely present, completely unbothered. She's not trying to impress anyone, and somehow everyone wants to know who she is. That's stillness, that's presence. That's the kind of energy that doesn't ask for attention, that simply attracts it. Because here's what most don't realize. Stillness isn't passive, it's power. It tells a man, I am not here to chase, I am here to be experienced. And when you sit in that energy, not fidgeting, not forcing, not filling every silence with small talk, you become the most interesting mystery in the room. Carl Jung said, your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. Stillness is a reflection of that inner clarity. You don't need to win anyone over. You've already won yourself. And men, they feel that. They feel the difference between a woman who needs attention and a woman who knows she already holds it. So the next time you find yourself tempted to over-talk, over-explain, overdo, pause, breathe. Let the silence stretch just 1 second longer than you're comfortable with. Because in that space, you don't lose him, you hook him. And what we're unlocking next, it's not about being quiet for the sake of mystery. It's about knowing when to stop just before the moment lands. That space, the almost, is where real desire lives. Stay with me. Number 4, the power of the almost. Sometimes the most powerful moment is the one that never fully happened. You see, my friends, there's a unique kind of electricity that lives in what I call the almost kiss, the almost touch, the almost confession. And the reason it's so unforgettable is because it never gave him closure. It left the door cracked just enough for his imagination to wander. And trust me, the male mind loves to wander. Imagine this, you're watching a movie, the couple leans in, the moment builds, the music swells, you're on the edge of your seat, and just as their lips are about to touch, fade to black, the screen goes silent. You're frozen because now your mind takes over. You play out the scene on your own. You wonder, did they kiss? What happened next? And that question, that lack of resolution, that's what keeps you hooked. That's how you stay on his mind. Carl Jung once said, the symbol is always greater than the thing itself. Why? Because symbols allow the unconscious to come alive. And when you become a woman who symbolizes intimacy rather than rushes into it, you become the story he keeps rewriting in his head. So the next time you're in that charged moment, the moment he's leaning in, the moment he's waiting for something more, try this. Pause, smile, and pull back. Say something like, well, we probably shouldn't, but wow, that was close. And then you leave it there. No explanation, no wrap up, no next move. You just created an emotional cliffhanger. And now he's craving the sequel. Because when you always give him the full story, there's nothing left to imagine. But when you give him just enough, the moment that almost happened, you leave him hungry. And desire, my friends, isn't born from satisfaction. It's born from anticipation. Don't underestimate the power of unfinished moments. They live longer, they linger deeper, they echo harder. And next, we're not just going to leave him wondering, we're going to show him what it feels like to be seen. Not flattered, not mirrored, but inspired. Stay with me. Number 5, he doesn't need another mirror. He needs a muse. He doesn't fall for the one who mirrors who he is. He falls for the one who reflects who he could become. That, my friends, is the difference between attraction and transformation, between being wanted and being unforgettable. Most women try to connect by echoing back what a man already knows about himself. They reflect his charm, compliment his strengths, nod when he speaks about his wins. And sure, it feels good for a moment, but what happens when that mirror cracks? When he's no longer shining, when the mask slips, that's when the muse enters. Because a mirror tells him who he is. But a muse, she whispers to the part of him he hasn't fully become yet. And she doesn't just see what's there, she calls forth what could be. Imagine a man who's built his identity around success, status, image. Everyone around him claps for the polished version. Then one night, he's sitting across from a woman who says, I see the fire in you, but I also see the fear you've never named. She's not criticizing him. She's inviting him to expand, to rise, to step into something deeper than the roles he's been playing. That, my friends, is seduction at the soul level. Carl Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And when you become the woman who reflects not his image, but his evolution, you become unforgettable, not because you flattered him, but because you stirred something he thought was buried. So don't just echo his confidence. Speak to the man inside the man. Say something that lifts the veil, just enough for him to see that someone out there sees more. You're not here to make him feel admired. You're here to make him feel awakened. Because when a woman speaks with presence and precision, when she touches not his ego but his essence, she becomes the woman he can't explain, the one who unsettles him in the best way, the one he remembers not for what she wore but for how she saw him when no one else could. And up next, we're going to flip the game even harder, because before he can crave you, he's got to respect you. Stay with me. Number 6, respect first, desire second. Desire without respect is just a moment, but respect, that's the beginning of devotion. Let's get honest, my friends, and you've seen it. Women who are desired, chased, even obsessed over, and yet never truly valued. Because the harsh truth is this: if he doesn't respect you, no amount of chemistry will make him stay. We live in a culture that glorifies being wanted, being texted back, being seen. But here's what no one teaches you: being desired doesn't mean being chosen. Because desire, when it's not rooted in respect, is shallow, it's fast, it's reactive. It touches your body, but it will never hold your heart. Respect is what makes a man slow down, and it's what makes him take off the mask, sit up straighter, speak more intentionally. And guess what earns that respect? Not performance, not perfection, but presence, standards, silence. Carl Jung once said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." And that applies here. You don't have to scream your worth. You don't need to explain your boundaries over and over again. You simply need to be them. And imagine this: he's used to women who entertain him, flatter him, chase him, and then he meets you. You don't rush to reply. You don't bend to fit. You don't perform to please. You meet him, not as someone trying to win him, but as someone who knows she's already the prize. And that shift, it shakes him, because he's not used to a woman who doesn't audition for his approval. Men don't chase the loudest woman, they chase the one who knows her worth and doesn't audition for theirs. So if you've ever wondered why he keeps going back to the woman who wasn't easier or prettier or nicer, this is why. She didn't come from lack, she came from knowing. Respect always precedes depth. Respect makes him think twice before playing games. Respect creates the foundation where real desire can build, not burn out. And next, we're stepping into the language that speaks directly to his subconscious, where words don't just impress, they linger. Stay with me. Number 7, speak in images, not explanations. The heart doesn't respond to bullet points, it responds to pictures. And my friends, if you want to be remembered, don't just say things that make sense. Say things that make him feel. Because the unconscious, the part of a man that forms real connection, doesn't understand logic. It understands emotion, symbol, sensation. This is where most people go wrong. They try to be clear, but they try to explain, define, label. I really like you. I miss you a lot. I want to see where this is going. And sure, those words might be true, but they land flat. Why? Because they don't spark imagination. They don't open a scene in his mind. And the moment you fail to spark emotion, you become just another voice in the noise. Carl Jung said, the psyche is not made of matter, but of meaning. And meaning lives in images, not explanations. So instead of saying, I miss you, try, if you were here right now, we'd be tangled up on the couch, laughing about something stupid and forgetting the world even existed. Do you feel the difference? One is a statement, the other is an invitation. You're not giving him data. You're giving him a movie trailer, a moment, a feeling he can slip into like a dream. Imagine sending him a message late at night, not thinking of you. But it's the kind of night that would have had your hoodie around my shoulders and my feet in your lap. Boom. Now his mind is there, and he doesn't just miss you, he feels you. That's emotional fluency, and that's symbolic seduction. And that's what makes a woman unforgettable, not because she speaks louder, but because she speaks the language of depth. So don't over-explain, and don't clarify your feelings like a job interview. Paint them, suggest them. Let him walk into the world you create. Because when a man feels something from you that no one else makes him feel, he doesn't just hear you, he holds you in his thoughts, in his memory, and eventually in his heart. And up next, we're going to talk about the most seductive signal of all, and not your words, not your glance, but your energy. Stay with me. Number 8, your energy is the real seduction. Don't touch his body to be remembered. Touch his soul and he'll never forget you. That, my friends, is where we land. Because after all the words, all the subtle glances, all the unfinished moments and whispered suggestions, there's one thing that lingers longer than all of it: your energy. See, you can learn the best lines. You can master the timing. You can wear the perfect dress and say all the right things, but none of it will matter if your energy doesn't match your truth. Because words can be copied, looks will shift, but your energy, that's your fingerprint. And whether you realize it or not, it's always speaking first. You know this already. You felt it. That moment when someone walks into a room and doesn't say a word, but you feel them, and they carry something, a calm, a gravity, a frequency that can't be faked. That's what happens when a woman knows who she is. When she walks in alignment with her values, not her fears. When she speaks with intention, not anxiety. When her silence doesn't say, "I hope this lands," it says, "I trust that it will." Carl Jung said, what you think of yourself becomes your truth. So here's the real question. What do you believe about you? Because your energy will always tell on you. And if you believe you're not enough, you'll try too hard. And if you believe you need to earn love, you'll perform for it. But if you believe truly that you are already the experience, you stop chasing, you start resonating. That's the woman he remembers, and the one who didn't reach for him, but stood so fully in her presence, he couldn't help but feel drawn in, and not by force, and not by fear, but by feeling. So hear me when I say this. You don't have to beg for attention. You don't have to compete. You don't have to convince. You just have to return to yourself. Because when you do, the right man won't just notice you. He'll feel something he can't explain. And that, my friends, is where the real seduction lives. Not in your moves, but in your energy. So if this journey stirred something in you, hit that like button, subscribe, stay glowing, stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next one.